3 months ago, I looked at the mirror and I saw a version of myself that isn't the version that I wanted. I was sitting around 72 kilos, and it wasn't that I was obese or something. Well, at best, I was a bit overweight. But I just felt stuck. I was doing all the things that the internet says that I should do, spamming cardios, chasing that feeling of burn after every single weightlifting set, doing 10-minute ab routine on YouTube that's guaranteed to get me abs within just 3 weeks. And after almost 2 years of that, my belly didn't shrink, my arms didn't even grow that much. I just looked softer. I turned skinny fat. That was basically the wake-up call for me. So I told myself, instead of just working harder, let me try to incorporate working smarter with that. And in the next 3 months, I dropped 9 kilograms, dropping from 72 kilograms to a whopping 63. Without running for hours, without cutting out my favorite food, and without training for over 2 hours a day. And the crazy part, I felt stronger, leaner, and more in control than ever. So in this video, I'm going to break down to you how I did it step by step. First, the golden key that unlocked fat loss for me. Secondly, it's the way I train less but actually got more result. And thirdly, the thing that made dieting feel effortless instead of torturing to me. And maybe to you too. And finally, why recovery is actually the hidden secret that actually made this all possible. So if you ever felt like fat loss is impossible, or like you have been wasting months doing the wrong thing, you're gonna want to hear this story because I've made every single mistake that you can think of so that you don't have to make the same mistake that I did. Alright, so let's start with the biggest reason that I was able to went from 72 kilograms to a whole whopping 63. The calorie deficit. And before you roll your eyes and say that you have been hearing about this for the millionth time, let me give you a bonus of the way that I did it without torturing myself. At the beginning, I was like every other people who just first know about, oh, you just need to eat less to lose weight. I thought being in a calorie deficit means that you have to cut out everything that you loved. No rice, no sweets, just chicken and broccoli every day, or all those kind of conventional healthy food. And honestly, that lasted for around a week before I broke and I bench eat again. And that's when I realized that you don't have to just punish yourself just to get lean. You just need to follow the simple equations that you just need to eat less than what your body actually burns. So here's a simple system that I followed. I just ate about 300 to 500 calories below my maintenance. That's not like starving yourself or just being so miserable that you're gonna crash diet later. That's just a big enough of a nudge to make the scale go down steadily. Think of it like driving on a highway. You don't have to like slam the weight like the emergency brake just to slow down. You just need to like ease off the gas. That's exactly what this feels like. And the second thing, I just kept my protein intake a bit high. Around 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Why? Because protein is like the seat belts that keeps your muscles safe while you're in a fat loss phase. Without protein, when you're in a deficit, you're not just losing fat, you're also losing muscle with it. And that's how people end up skinny fat while being in a calorie deficit. Plus, protein makes you full for longer, so it makes dieting way easier. And here's the part that really changed the game for me. I did not force myself to cut out the food that I love. If I wanted rice, I will have rice. If I want a little bit of chocolate, I will have a piece of dark chocolate. The only rule that I set to myself was simple. Hit my protein target in a day and stay under my calorie budget. Or maybe just hit my budget, alright? And then fill the rest of the day with whatever makes me happy. This makes the diet sustainable, and sustainability is what makes it works. So how do I keep track of all this? I just use a simple app called MyFitnessPal. Nothing fancy, just logging meals in, learning portion size, and seeing how the number adds up. At first, it will feel like you're just doing homework that you don't even want to do. But after like a week or two, when it becomes a part of your habit, it just becomes second nature. Like checking on the speedometer when you are driving or something like that. Just glance a bit. Okay, I'm still in the speed limit, and then you keep driving. You don't have to stop your whole car just to check your speed because it would go to zero by that time, right? So to put this part in a nutshell, calorie deficit doesn't mean suffering starving yourself or just eating clean all the time. It just means that eating a little less than what you actually burn in a day. Protecting your muscle with protein and using tools that keep yourself accountable with this diet. That's the first big piece of puzzle on my journey to lose 9 kilograms with just 3 months. And the best part is, this doesn't even feel like I'm dieting at all. So now let's talk about the second piece of the puzzle, the way that I trained. And honestly, this is where I went almost against almost all of the advices I saw online. Because if you search up on YouTube how to lose fat, you will see a bunch of videos circulating around like, circus style workout, high intensity interval training, 10-minute ab routine, something like that. I've tried that and it never actually worked. When I finally am being serious about this cut, I did the complete opposite of those videos online of fat burning style workout told me to do. Instead of just chasing time and volume in the gym, trying to burn as much calorie as possible in the gym, I instead focused on hypertrophy training with low volume and high intensity training. That didn't mean that I do like 20 sets per muscle group. I didn't go for like endless amount of reps. Instead, I just picked like a handful of exercises, lock in on forms, and push every single set that I decide to do, excluding the warm-up set, to absolute failure. Think of it this way. Training is like digging for gold. You don't need to dig like 100 shallow holes hoping that you get lucky. You just need to dig a few but go deep enough so that you actually find something valuable. That's what high intensity training feels like. Fewer sets, but each one will be done with a purpose. For me, that meant doing 30 to 45 minute sessions for 4 times a week. That's it. I don't need to live in the gym. I'm not training to chase the burn anymore. And I definitely wasn't doing like endless cardio before lifting like I used to do. The goal was simple. Keep my strength, keep my muscle, and let the calorie deficit handle the fat loss. Because here's another truth. Another bomb dropped down into your face. Boom. Lifting doesn't actually make you lose as much calories as you think it would. But it does signal to your body. It basically sends a message of, oh, we're in a calorie deficit, but this dude is lifting weight. Hey, let's keep the muscle and burn the fat instead for excess energy. And the crazy thing is, with less time I spent in the gym, I actually enjoyed training more. I went in, worked hard, felt like I have completed something with that just small amount of time. Instead of just crawling out of the gym after like 3-hour session of doing cardio and dreading the next day, feeling like thinking to myself that, damn, I have to do the same thing over and over again. This way makes it sustainable. And sustainability, it's what keeps me doing the same thing over and over again for a whole 3 months to actually see results. So if you're killing yourself with junk volume, endless cardio, and over 2-hour sessions, hear me out when I say this, is that you don't have to do any of them. Keep it short, keep it intense, keep yourself focused in the session, and your body will reward you for it. But here's the thing. Even though I was training less, I still needed a way to keep my diet in check without making it miserable. And this brings me to the third piece of the puzzle when it comes to this transformation, which is fasting. Now I know the word fasting scares a lot of people. It sounds like extreme, like you're starving yourself or you're punishing your body. But for me, it was the complete opposite. You should try it out, see if it works for yourself first before you knock it off. For me, it actually makes fat loss easier because it simplifies everything. Here's how I did it. I, number one, skipped my breakfast. Simple as that. Many people say that, but breakfast is the most important meals in the day. But for me, I don't know why, but if I eat breakfast, my brain just gets foggy, and most of the day I go to school or go to work, and I use my brain to work, and it's not working after I eat like a bowl of rice. So I just don't eat, and my mind feels way more sharp. Just drink some water, a lot of water with it. But I just skip breakfast, simple as that. Instead of just having to spread my calories over 3 whole meals, or like the 4 or 5 meals like bodybuilders eat, I ate just like 2 big meals. One for pre-workout around lunchtime, and the other one is closer to dinner, and it's the post-workout meal. And both of those meals were big and satisfying and still kept me in a calorie deficit. And sometimes, if my schedule was crazy, if I had like college meeting at my club at like freaking 8 p.m., I would just have one meal, like a buffet basically. I'm eating whatever I want, but somehow still in a deficit. At first, I won't lie, the first 1 to 2 weeks will feel tough. Your body is used to eating in the morning, so you will have to adapt a bit. But after that, hunger becomes predictable, and you'll actually feel more energetic in the morning because you're not spiking your insulin up. So instead of dragging myself throughout the entire day, I was sharper, more focused, and honestly, I love the freedom of not having to worry about food every single time. That, I have to eat protein every 2 hours after every meal, blah blah blah. Just hit your protein, man. Think of it like this. If you're climbing a mountain and you have to stop every single 20 minutes just to set up a camp and then have a small snack in that camp, you would take forever. That it would feel like you're never gonna reach the top at all. But if you push through, set fewer but more manageable checkpoints, you will actually make progress way faster. That's what fasting felt like for me. Fewer meals, but each one feels more aligned and rewarding to my goal. And here's the key. I still ate the foods that I want. I didn't cut out pizza, ice cream, or that delicious shrimp tempura. I just ate them in the right context, like as a part of the big meal, and not just like scattered snack all day. And when you combine that with enough protein, you'll stay full, your cravings goes down, and hitting a calorie deficit feels honestly pretty effortless. So whilst most people were stressing about meal plan, meal typing, and then eating clean all the time, I just kept it simple. Fast my breakfast and eat bigger meals later. Enjoy my food and let the deficit does this work. Now there's this one last piece of the puzzle that makes all the difference for me. Recovery. And honestly, this part doesn't get talked about enough. We all focus on our training, our diet, and supplements, but recovery is where real growth and fat loss actually happens. When you're in a calorie deficit, your body doesn't have as much energy to play around as when you're eating like around surplus or maybe even around maintenance. You're pushing hard, training hard in the gym, maybe even fasting like me. So if you don't prioritize recovery, you're basically draining your battery without ever recharging it. And trust me, I've been there. Back when I just ditched recovery out of my plan, I was always cranky, tired, and every lift felt like I'm pushing the world for almost every single day. So during this 3 months cut, I did the opposite. I made sleep my number one priority. Aim for around 8 to 9 hours in bed for every single day. That doesn't mean that I was asleep the whole time, but that much amount of time gave me space to wind down, relax, and actually recover. And guess what? I didn't lose strength. Even when I'm in a deficit, I was still performing well because my recovery was dialed in. And it wasn't just about sleep. Recovery is also about the little things. Most people think that they're resting when they just sit down and, doom scrolling on their phone. While maybe if you don't have any, responsibility or something like that, like if you're doom scrolling and thinking that, you still have this deadline you have to do, maybe you are. But most people, when they use their phone, they're like stressing over the message, like, oh, my crush is gonna reply me soon. Or maybe they're raging over a video game. If you do that, that's not recovery. That's just chaos. Real recovery is when you slowly slow your heart rate down, letting your body and your mind actually relax. For me, that meant going for a walk, chilling with music, or just basically breathing and doing nothing. It's just simple things like that, but it's actually very effective. So if you want to lose body fat without burning out, don't just think about how hard you can push. Think about how well you can recover also. Because training will break you down, but recovery will build you back up even higher. So that's exactly how I went from 72 kilos to 63 in just 3 months. Calorie deficit with protein prioritization, smart training, fasting to simplify meal planning, and I get to eat more around my meal, and recovery to keep my strength and sanity intact. Now if you don't want to waste years figuring out stuff like these like I did, I've built a private community where you can take a shortcut to this process. Inside you'll find a like-minded group of people who are on the same journey just like you, direct access to me to one-on-one advices whenever you feel stuck, and even weekly calls where I teach exclusive lessons, answer questions, and sometimes roast your training or your diet kindly so that you can improve. So if you're serious about building your best physique without wasting time, check out the top link description down below. I'll be waiting for you on the inside. And click here to watch another video that YouTube recommends on my channel. YouTube is a smart guy, so I think this video will have a lot of value to you.